Some people are addicted to the grind with a tendency to become a workaholic. But when these people are your colleagues or your boss, it really can have a major impact on your work-life balance. Thanks so much for staying with us on this Monday. I'm Tamsin Fidel.
And I'm Erin LeBeau. So being committed to your job is one thing, but total devotion to your work is entirely different and could be a problem. So joining us now to discuss the impact a workaholic has on the office is life and business coach Angie Wisdom. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so Angie, when some people hear the word workaholic, they might think someone who's married to their job, but you say there's more to that. Is there?
There's a big difference. There are some people who are workaholics. They love to work and they're just super passionate about it, but they know how to turn it off and tune into their personal life. A workaholic is completely different. It's somebody who really has this compulsion, this need to constantly be working to keep their mind occupied there instead of something they're likely avoiding.
All right. So what is the impact on an employee if it turns out that their boss is a workaholic like that?
Yeah, there's fortunately all workaholic bosses are not created equal. The ones that are really self-aware, they know this about them. They know they have a problem and an addiction to their work. So they don't really expect other people to play at that same level. So they give space, which is fantastic. Good. But on the other hand, the ones that are not self-aware, they don't view it as a problem. They think that this is a strength of theirs. They think it's a great quality, and they expect everyone to step up to the plate and contribute the same amount. That creates a very toxic work environment.
I can see that. Angie, so is it actually worse if it's a colleague who's, in fact, a workaholic, and does that create extra pressure?
You wouldn't think so because they're not your boss, but the fact is they're your peer and you feel like you're competing against them. So that saying, comparison is the thief of joy. It's exactly that. If you're comparing yourself to your colleague, especially in this environment where there's so many layoffs, you constantly feel like you have to overperform and meet their level of work because you're fearing that you're going to lose your job or that you're not going to be viewed the same in your boss's eyes.
So let's give people some actionables. What are some of the ways to deal with a workaholic in the office so it doesn't actually impact somebody professionally or even personally?
Absolutely. I tell my clients when they're dealing with this that set your boundaries, understand when you're on and when you're off. Do this by having a conversation with your boss, with your leader, to ask them, what are my role expectations? What do you expect me to deliver on every single day? When do you expect me to be present? When do you expect me to answer phone calls, emails? That way you have a good idea of what you have to rise up to instead of constantly rising up to whoever's working next to you. And I also tell people, check the facts. Don't make up stories in your head because you may be thinking, oh gosh, they like, Susie's so much better than me because she's always in these Zoom meetings and always at the office early, but your boss may not value that. So make sure you know what you're operating on before you just go creating stories and trying to match that workaholic.
Yeah. Okay, so if someone is actually watching this right now and they realize, wait a minute, I'm a workaholic, what can they do?
Yes, that light bulb's going off that they say, oh my gosh, this might be me. Yes, if you think you're in that camp, the first thing I would say, even though it's a hard question to answer, is, are you trying to avoid something? Is there something that you're afraid of that you don't want to deal with? That's generally why you're leading into that workaholic mode. And the next thing, ask yourself, what would life be like if you didn't work all the time? What are you inspired to do outside of work? That really helps us create some motivation and inspiration to change those habits and get out of that workaholic mode.
Yeah, I also think that creativity outside of work gives you good ideas that you can bring back in. I've seen it so many times, and it's,
It really does. We need that balance.
Yeah. Angie, thanks so much for being with us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me, Tamsin, Ernie.
All right, to get more information or to see more of Angie's tips, you can follow her on Instagram or visit her website, angiewisdom.com.